Hey guys, welcome back to Young Americans Abroad, your best place for weekly content on young American soccer players playing overseas. My name is Austin Van Churn.
And my name is Patrick Ferry.
And as always, guys, welcome to our show. Well, guys, what a weekend abroad it was for Americans. We had a lot of amazing performances this weekend to start most of the seasons for our players. So, we're excited to talk about that today. One side note is, me and Pat today are filming at two separate times. So bear with us if this episode's a little bit, doesn't look as cohesive as some of our other episodes. So with that being said, though, we have a lot to get to. So today we want to talk about several players who had key performances for their team in the DFB Pokal. Then we want to go over to talk about one exciting player who just went on loan to the Eredivisie. And finally, we want to finish up with one player in Spain looking to make history for his club. All that and more today in our episode. So today we're going to start off over in Germany and talk about Gio Reyna, who started for Dortmund in their big DFB Pokal game and played 57 minutes, and that was in a 5-0 win over Duisburg. So I think coming away from Gio's big preseason, it was definitely great to see him start this game. Marco Reus and Julian Brandt were both on the bench for Dortmund, so it wasn't like, players were injured and, he was just in there because of injury or anything like that. So I thought that was really cool. And then, going into the game a little bit, Dortmund really, had their way. Duisburg is a third tier German team, so it wasn't, the stiffest competition, so to speak. But, in the second half, right after halftime, Gio actually took a free kick for Dortmund. And on this free kick, he actually scored. And I guess you could say it was a little bit of a discrepancy whether he scored or Axel Witsel scored, because essentially his free kick came off of Axel Witsel's thigh and redirected into the goal. So, at the moment it's still Gio Reyna's goal, so we're gonna give it to him. And it's good to see him, get on the score sheet this early in the season. And like I said, continue that form from preseason. We saw a lot of I would say tenacity from him, and something that last season I said I wanted to see from him more is just that fervor, that hunger for scoring goals, and really being an impact player when he's on the pitch. And I think we did see that in this game. Like I said, this was not a very good team, so I think once Dortmund got up a little bit, players started to relax and not take plays off, but just loosen up a bit and get more comfortable. So with that being said, though, I really want to see what's in store for Dortmund this weekend when they start the Bundesliga against Borussia Mönchengladbach, which last season was a very good team. I believe they're playing in the Champions League this season. I think they finished in 4th, if I'm not mistaken. So should be a tough contest to start the season. And I want to see if Gio starts in this game. So like I said, this was I think a good sign of what's to come for Gio this season. Getting minutes with this first team and being kind of a key player for them. I know that's kind of crazy to say as a 17-year-old, especially with some of the other names in Dortmund's first team, but I really think that there is a chance for him this season to kind of step up and get considerable minutes over some of the other players on that team. So I'm really interested this weekend to see what happens and if Gio can keep that strong form alive and scores first Bundesliga goal. So I think that's all for Gio today. So now let's head over to another DFB Pokal performance, and that would be from Josh Sargent. So Josh started and played 90 minutes for Werder Bremen this weekend against Karl Zeiss Jena, which I believe now is a 4th tier German side. They were last year in the 3rd tier, but they did get relegated. And Josh actually was kind of the hero in this game. So just after halftime again, Josh scored a header off a corner for Bremen and really just, helped them kind of gain momentum in this game. It was a very back and forth game. Both teams were very up for it, I guess you would say. You'd hope Bremen would be up for it and take care of business. But, that 3rd or 4th tier side, Karl Zeiss Jena, that team was very aggressive and persistent and really gave Bremen a game. So, I thought it was really good to see Josh obviously get on the score sheet, but I also appreciated what he did in this game. He didn't have too many chances, but again, we saw that work rate. We saw, just that hold-up play and just that smart savviness when he has the ball, and also just, combining with players and keeping possession. I think that's something that I'm really growing to enjoy from Josh, and think that, it's going to be a big part of his game going forward that, we really don't have from any other strikers. I know our striker pool is very thin right now, but that's something that I'm really excited about. So that was good to see in this game. And then I guess, just kind of like Gio, after a strong preseason, after some strong words from his coach saying that, he's kind of undroppable right now. He doesn't envision a lineup without Josh starting in it. I thought it was really good to see him, start this game. I think that's again, a sign of things to come this season. And that's, me hoping as well. But I do think it's good to get him, in that starting lineup day one and score a goal and be, a difference maker for his team. So I thought that was really good. And he actually won man of the match in this match as well. So, the goal was definitely a big thing for them. Like I said, that was kind of the turning point in this game. So good to see him, getting some accolades as well. But that's it for Josh today. Let's head over again to another DFB Pokal performance, staying in Germany, and that's Tyler Adams. So Tyler Adams started and played the entire game for Leipzig and was really in a different position than I've seen him play for Leipzig. I know he's played in the sixth position, has kind of been, the person tasked with cleaning up things on the defensive end. But what was really different about this game with Tyler was that he actually was dropping very deep, kind of with the center backs and even behind them at times to kind of orchestrate their passing sequences and keep possession and, I guess Julian Nagelsmann even said this, or someone said it, but kind of quarterback the team and, lead them on the day. So that was really cool. He had a fantastic game too, defensively, just intercepting balls. That was, really on display in this game. They played against Nuremberg, I should say. So Nuremberg was a team that almost got relegated last year from the 2 Bundesliga, and that was a team that was actually in the Bundesliga 2 years ago. So still has some decent talent on it, but definitely a team that's kind of rebuilding, and you could definitely see that in this game. But I was really impressed with the defensive work that Tyler did. We obviously know that he's a very agile player and can kind of win the ball back at will, so to speak. But I was really impressed with his reading of the game from that deep position and his ability to cut off the passing lanes, passing channels, whatever you want to call it. So that was great. And then, going forward, I think this is a really interesting spot for Tyler Adams. Last season he started off the season injured, and some players kind of got in front of him since Julian Nagelsmann came in at the start of the season. So he was kind of playing catch up ever since he got back from injury. But now Konrad Laimer, which is another midfielder for Leipzig, is out injured for a foreseeable length of time. So I think this will really open up an opportunity for Tyler to kind of cement himself in the starting lineup for Leipzig. And I'm excited about it. I think he's got all the qualities that Leipzig need from a midfielder and kind of lacked at times last year. I felt like Leipzig got away from, that really pressing, hardworking team. And in the games where they really lacked offensive creativity or just, excitement, I would say. At times their play just got boring. They kept recycling possession, and there really wasn't someone who, was kind of that person who was going to win a ball back and then go straight forward with it with purpose. And I think Tyler can really be that person at the back, and that's exciting for me. So, it's also good to say, too, just like Josh in this game, Tyler was man of the match. So definitely a great performance from him in that quarterback role. So I think you're going to see that going forward, and that's exciting. So now let's head over to a player who was in the Bundesliga, but now we'll be moving over to the Eredivisie, and that's Uly Llanez. So Uly Llanez, a player we've talked about a lot on this show, and is someone that we're really excited about and think has a bright future. He will actually now be moving on loan to SC Heerenveen, and Heerenveen's a club that is pretty much a mid-table team over in Holland, but has had a great track record of growing players, players going on loan there and just having those minutes help their careers. So a few examples of that would be Martin Odegaard from Real Madrid. I believe he spent 1 to 2 years there. I want to say two, but was really, that was really the place where he kind of found his feet in professional football. And now he's a player. I believe he's back at Real Madrid now, but had a great season for Real Sociedad last year, and is really just a bright young prospect. So that was one that really stood out that also played at this club. And then Hakim Ziyech back in the day actually played for Heerenveen. So we all kind of know what he's done with Ajax now, taking them to the Champions League semifinals 2 years ago, and now moving to Chelsea, and is really a phenomenal player. I think since we'll be watching Christian Pulisic a lot this year, I think we're really going to come to appreciate Hakim Ziyech's game and how good he really is. So this is a team that's kind of been how do you want to put it, kind of a home for these lone players to really thrive and grow, and allow them to get minutes and get their feet wet in the professional game. So I really like this loan for Uly. I think getting away from the Bundesliga and especially Wolfsburg, where it just seemed like his path was kind of cluttered at the moment. There really wasn't any clear way he was going to get first team minutes with Wolfsburg this season. So I think if he stayed there, he would have been playing a lot of reserve games, which he played U19 Bundesliga last year. So it's a step up in theory, but they're still playing in the fourth tier of Germany, which is not that great. And it's not the type of competition I think he needs to continue to advance his career and really become, a dynamic winger that plays in a top 5 league. I think this move really puts him in a better position and sets him up to succeed more in the future. And it's also a league that has other Americans in it. So you got, Richie Ledezma, Sergiño Dest, Alex Mendez. These are all players that, he has a connection with and can probably, reach out to for some advice and even hang out with from time to time during the week and stuff like that. So I think this is a great move in those two facets. And then also just, this is a team that, will offer him minutes. So looking at their roster right now, they have, I would say, like 4 or 5 players at his position, but 2 are kind of youth players that don't really get minutes or haven't yet. And then one's Mitchell Van Bergen. So Mitch Van Bergen's basically their best player, to my understanding, or at least their best attacker. He's a 21-year-old winger. He's Dutch, and he's a player who's had success in the past, but still is not to the level of, I guess, moving on from Heerenveen. So what's interesting, too, right now is he's actually out injured. So I guess when we get to it in a second, that might bode well for Uly getting minutes early on. And then you have Oliver Batista Meyer, who is a player that just got loaned in from Bayern Munich. He's also the same age as Uly. I believe he's 19 years old. And he's someone that's, a pretty high prospect for Bayern, and one that, I would think will get consistent minutes here at Heerenveen. So, those are kind of the 2 players that really stand out as his, I would say, competition. But at the same time, you have 2 wingers on the field, so one of those 2 will start. And then I think Uly will, have to kind of beat out one for minutes. And like I said, one's injured right now. So I think you'll see Uly get minutes right away. Heerenveen play their first, well, I guess it's their second game of the season on Saturday. So we'll actually be able to see, if Uly can crack that starting lineup from day one, or even, be in the first team roster. I think that's a given with this move. Their team's very small at the moment. They don't have many players. And he's also wearing the number 7 jersey, which I think is a sign of intent for what they have in plan for Uly this season. So yeah, definitely an exciting move, one that I'm really excited for it. I think that, like I said, he just needs game time under his belt, and he's such a creative player, someone who likes to take people on one-on-one, like he said in his announcement for Heerenveen. He really likes taking players on one-on-one, and I think that those skills will just get further honed with more game time under his belt. So that's all for my part today. Now I'm going to switch over to Pat and let him finish up.
All right, guys. So just like Austin mentioned, I'll be taking this portion of the episode. I appreciate you guys understanding our conflicted schedules there and still being able to put out that great content for you guys, even if we're not filming this, in real time together there. But nonetheless, let's jump right into Weston McKennie over in Italy. So really exciting just to have the Weston McKennie, Ronaldo, and Juventus all those words in the same breath. So I still can't believe it. I feel like it's a dream, especially for American players and paving the way to elite clubs. So again, we'll get right into Weston's preseason game. Where he featured there and started in a 5-0 win against Navarra, who I believe is in Serie C. So again, right off the bat, exactly how Pirlo wanted his teams to kind of be built, with defense and midfielder, and just wanting to, have players immediately win the ball back. And you've seen some of that trend with some of the top teams, around Europe, where whether it's the not even necessarily full pressing, but as soon as they lose it, 2 or 3 players in the midfield or defense just kind of swarm and get the ball back. So McKennie certainly showcased some of that. There's a few instances where the Navarre midfield was starting to break, I think down kind of the middle of the pitch, and McKennie kind of sprinted back and had a nice slide tackle, was able to save the ball from going inbound and then continue to attack. Also, he really linked up well with Ronaldo, which, I mean, playing with a legend like that is pretty fun. And as well as just having Ramsey, Rabiot, Cuadrado, Sandro, pretty, high quality players. And again, nothing against Schalke, but certainly a step up where he's playing on a ball possession, ball dominant team that's looking for creativity, having the ability to create more chances. So you could see that him connecting, making some great passes there, some connection, winning the ball back, being aggressive, doing the things that he does best. And again, even found himself in terms of just finding space in those give and goes, 1-2s, where he was pretty positionally aware. So that's really good to see, and I'm sure Pirlo will be very happy with that. And yeah, again, there was a moment in the game where he could have put one in. I think he tried to kind of cut it back and pass across in the final third there in the 6-yard box, maybe a little bit outside. I think it was around the 30th minute or so. And personally, again, I know he's not the strongest shooter, but he still has a pretty decent shot where I think his decision making could have been a little better than the final third. It's just one moment I wanted to pick out, where we'll kind of see the improvement there, especially getting a lot more chances in the attack, connecting play, creating those key passes, as well as shots on targets or great chances and getting more assists, being with a team of this caliber like Juventus. So again, I think it was a pretty strong showing. You have to look at the competition too, but still got to give him a round of applause. And again, everyone is also talking about that picture with Cristiano Ronaldo in the video, arm around him, and that's just exciting to kind of see Weston being advised and almost looking at a lot of these players, these senior players, as great mentors and learning how they move positionally and in attack training day in and day out. So I think that's a great culture for Weston, and really just looking forward to seeing what he can do. I believe this Sunday they play Sampdoria. So again, it'll be kind of interesting to see if he gets the nod there. There's a lot of competition with Benacore, Rabiot, a lot of those Ramsey, a lot of those other midfielders. A lot of those players that we listed, that they brought in some new fresh players, as well as some old veterans. And obviously you can kind of see the comparison with Matuidi, who is out there out of Juventus. But again, it'll be interesting to see. Again, now that I'm sure Austin and I will be very much tuned into that game. So certainly one that you have to keep your eye on moving forward. And I also wanted to quickly mention this fun tidbit here. I guess he did get, according to some journalists there, man of the match. So, take it with a grain of salt, take it for how you want. But yeah, again, he really impressed with some of those key traits that we've come to know and love. And it's a fantastic place, the old lady and Pirlo at the helm, where one of the most legendary midfielders he can learn from and study. And again, I know Austin and I have talked about it a lot, but just such an amazing, I don't even want to say accomplishment, but just to get to this step here, and could really be a huge way to pave the path, because you could see it with Pulisic now, McKennie being at a club this size. You can even look at Adams at Leipzig, because that club has huge ambitions. That a lot of players are now getting the nod, and they're going to keep coming abroad. Our young players here, and again, Austin and I will certainly be covering them, but not to divert too far away from Weston. But I'm sure we'll be talking about him for the rest of the YA season here and moving forward. Again, I think it's a great opportunity for him. Again, it is just on loan there with the option to buy. He does have that year to really impress and make an impact. And what also is nice too is he doesn't have to, be expected to start 5, 6, 7 games right away and put in goals and assists 24/7. So obviously he is coming in from Schalke. He has a lot to prove, chip on his shoulder, but at least, it could be a different situation with certain other players. Say, even if they brought in any of the top players in the world, where Dembele or other players, where maybe it is even a Pulisic over there, where obviously they're kind of higher up, where Weston, I think, is building himself up to be with Adams, Pulisic, where Austin and I have rated high, where McKennie is pushing his limits here, which we want to see. He could have gone to Southampton, Newcastle, but again, don't want to go too much into this topic, but nonetheless, great preseason performance so far, and a lot more to come. So keep your eyes tuned there, especially on Sunday. So now we're going to head over to Spain with some great history made with Konrad De La Fuente in Barcelona. And usually we're talking about him with the B team, up in the academy there, U19s, things like that. And now he's become the first American player for the Barcelona first team for the La Liga club. So it was awesome to see. Congrats to Konrad. I know Austin would be cheering with me as well. Again, it's not necessarily that he's gonna take Lionel Messi's place or anything, but that's just a huge accomplishment. Being there for such an extended period of time, and really just kind of starting from the ground up there from the academy and getting that appearance just to showcase it and training with the first team. I will learn a lot. The young 19-year-old winger. So again, he came on as a substitute second half against Gymnastic in a friendly for Sergio Busquets. And yeah, again, he looked really lively on the pitch, and even had a moment where I saw it on Twitter. I wasn't able to catch the game here, but it looked like he had a goal there and it was ruled offside. But obviously a little ahead of the run there, but he did make that curving run behind his defenders, found a little space there, and it was a great finish. Just a little bit eager, and maybe the ball could have been played a little bit sooner, but nonetheless, just to have that kind of exposure and experience, even on a preseason level, is great to have for Konrad. I do want to mention here too, quickly, that Konrad, I think personally, for the season, that again, I don't want to harp too much on not being negative, I guess, per se, but I think we have to be cautiously optimistic where, again, like I just mentioned, he's not going to be taking Lionel Messi's spot, and don't be alarmed if you don't see him in the first team there playing, getting all the substitute appearances game in, game out. I think what might happen is, if he even starts for Barca B and getting good exposure there, I think that could be an option there, because obviously they want to push and get up a division there, and they were so close last time. As well as just the stacked team that Barcelona has, and the caliber, Ronald Koeman coming in, a lot of players, the culture changing, and the situation is messy. Again, don't want to correlate it directly or say it's going to impact Konrad, but he still has a lot to learn. I think it'd be great to see him. Fantastic if he gets a few appearances here and there, but I wouldn't expect him to be a starter day in and day out. Nonetheless, we're not going to let that hamper. He had a great moment of history. As one of his goals, he's going to continue to work hard. I was reading one of the quotes he had there, and just kind of happy to see kind of his hard work come to fruition. And again, he just needs to keep developing in terms of, that one-on-one ability that we've come to know and love with Konrad. He will, again, face a very elite competition once he gets up here, and the quality and consistency that Barcelona players need to have in that standard, albeit it has been a little wary here in the bigger games in Champions League, with their games against Bayern, Liverpool, Roma, things like that. But it's still Barcelona. It's still an elite club where he will have to consistently deliver day in, day out, because you see Coutinho and Dembele and some other players, Griezmann, not performing up to par, where it can be shit pretty quick. So again, congrats to Konrad. We're rooting for you for the rest of the start of the season here, I should say. So again, that's all for this part of today's episodes. So now let's head on over to Quick Kicks. All right, guys, it's my favorite part of the show. If Austin was here, he would say it's his as well. I think you guys know what time it is. It's Quick Kick time.
So you could test Wayne Miller. It's Altidore over the wall, and that one is in! Josie Altidore from a long way out. The opening goal for the United States.
All right, guys, and to begin Quick Kicks, we're going to start over with Reggie Cannon, who made his preseason debut for Boavista and scored a goal in their 4-1 win. It's awesome to see Reggie make that move and impact right away. And Tyler Boyd over in Turkey started and played 81 minutes, scored an awesome goal, a banger, in Besiktas' 3-1 win. Nick Gioacchini over with Cannes scored a goal and was man of the match in a 3-0 win. And Richie Ledezma also started and scored a goal in Young PSV's 4-1 win. There's been a lot of goals here so far. And also staying, I should say, in the Netherlands, Sergiño Dest subbed on due to Tagliafico's red card in the 33rd minute. So again, Dest kind of closed out there, even down a man. It looked pretty strong. Now, Johnny Cardoso for Internacional started and played 83 in a 2-0 win. It's starting to see a lot of starts and moves there in Brazil's Serie A there. And Jordan Siebatcheu has completed a loan move with an option to buy for the young boys over in Switzerland. Interesting move, and hopefully see Jordan continue to score goals there. Now, Julian Green had a goal and an assist in Greuther Fürth's 6-1 DFB Pokal win. Great to see Julian Green being very productive. Now, Emmanuel Sabbi for Obi's his new team there in Denmark started and played 64 in a big 3-2 win over FC Copenhagen, which is usually a pretty strong team there in Denmark. Luca de la Torre made his Eredivisie debut for Heracles Almelo and picked up an assist in their 2-0 win. Haji Wright, another player on the score sheet in his club's big 2-0 win over FC Michelin. So again, great to see Haji and a lot of players here, like I keep saying, on the score sheet. And Sebastian Soto for his Telstar debut over in the Eredivisie. Subbed on the 80th minute in their 2-1 loss. Evan Rotundo over the Schalke U17s scored their 2 goals in a 2-0 win. So congrats to Evan. And Kaile Auvray had a goal and an assist in Lille's U17's 4-1 win to kind of redeem himself for the red card there a few weeks back. So good stuff from Kyle.
So thanks for watching, guys. Make sure you like this video and subscribe to our channel down below. And also make sure you check out our awesome content on Twitter and Instagram. And check out our podcast as well. We now offer all our episodes in podcast form on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and Spotify. So make sure you go check those out, subscribe to us on those platforms, and also give us a review. So like we said earlier and throughout this episode, there were so many exciting performances this week. And we get to do it all again next week. So here's to hoping that we have just as much to talk about next week. But all this, all these great performances, all this development from our players leads to one thing. And that is, one day we will win a World Cup.